welcome back to All for United WFC. I'm joined as ever by an absolute legend and favourite of ours on this channel. Thought I'd give you a great introduction. And I think you were just starting your YouTube channel when you last came on, and now you're just this YouTube kind of megastar in the women's game, aren't you?
Oh my God, you've not just said that out loud. I'll take it. Thank you so much, Connor. Listen, YouTube megastar hasn't even brushed her hair or put any makeup on this morning, so apologies for this look. This is Monday, it's absolute finest. Pouring outside, got the kids to nursery, had a battle of the wills with my daughter, but happy to sit and talk about all things WSL with yourself. Things are good. I love YouTube. Thank you, by the way, if you're watching this and you've subscribed and you're enjoying the channel. My sister started one as well, and do you know what? It's an addiction, isn't it? It is an addiction when you get into YouTube, because watching the numbers grow, watching what people like, what they don't like, where they're tuning in, where they're sleeping. I'm obsessed with it all.
It is fantastic. The hours that we put in on this channel as well, trying to make and give United fans a voice in particular, especially for the women's side, as that continues to grow. We may as well start. Arsenal game Saturday night under the lights at the Emirates. I mean, if there was an advert for the WSL, that was probably one of them.
It was good.
I was unfortunate I wasn't there, but pretty much everyone a part of this channel was. Let's just start with the actual game itself. How did you see it? Well, I think we were just chatting briefly backstage. Were Arsenal really bad? Were United really good? How did you kind of see the game from your point of view?
So I was turned up about 35 minutes into the first half. Met my sister, my partner, and they said United are all over Arsenal. And I was like, really? And they were like, yeah, they're all over them. And I was like, okay, fair, because I rate United highly. And I actually thought, going up against like Chelsea, which we saw a couple of weeks ago, I thought United were good, and then they kind of crumbled, So it was, when I turned up, it was still 0-0. But hearing that United were dominating, I was like, okay. So then when Ella Toone got the goal, everyone was like, well, that was well deserved. Great goal from her. Again, it's these young Lioness players who are stepping up in the key moments, who are just taking things by storm at the moment. Halftime, had a little conflab, chatted to those around me. Everybody agreed United were all over Arsenal. And I thought, okay, well then this second half, Vivian Miedema might come on, might have an instant impact, which we're seeing less and less of at the moment from Vivian Miedema, which is frustrating. I can only imagine how frustrated she is. And, we know that Arsenal have the depth. One thing I will say about Arsenal is that the injury crisis that is going on there at the moment won't be helping them. But you're Arsenal, you need to step up, you need to rise to these occasions, and they should be winning games at that. And I thought the last 20 minutes of the game was absolutely brilliant. The way Arsenal came back into it, I thought, well, United can't win this. But the fact that United then come from 2-1 behind to go 3-2 up, I was like, absolute credit to that squad of women who are young, energetic. Katie Zellum, for me, her communication with all the players, she for me was the out and out leader on that pitch. From both sides, I thought she was outstanding, and they rose to the occasion. Alessia Russo, I'm obsessed, and I will remain forever obsessed, because I just thought there at that moment, you can see it happening, and Arsenal went on her. You can't leave Alessia Russo, unmanned. 10 of you should be on her, and she had the moment, and she rose, she shone. So yes, a roundabout way of answering your question, I think United were brilliant, and I don't think Arsenal turned it up the next level. I think they expected to win, and Manchester United, I would say, deserved the win.
Yeah, I was going to say, because when the second Arsenal goal went in, I was fully sat here ready to do another YouTube title where it's another game of two halves. United have took the lead, and we've thrown it away in the because that first goal that Marnham scored that was deflected, that was horrendous to watch, because to run 40-50 yards like she did and to take the deflection was just that was a hard one. The second goal was pretty good ball in by Katie, and a good finish at the back post, but I was sat there thinking, oh, here we go again, we've thrown another lead against the top three. But as you said, we came back around. Oh, go on.
It's fine because Manchester United, I think you can actually look and go, against Chelsea and Arsenal, you can forgive them. At least they're putting in their best performances. You can forgive them if they lose, because I actually felt that way against Chelsea. I was going, you can't expect United to upset at Chelsea. They're getting there, they're climbing, there's progress. They're creeping slowly but surely, they're getting stronger, they're getting better. But actually, what they've done at Arsenal, they 100% deserved, and it's a game-changing moment now for that club and for that squad. It really is. It changes everything. What happened on Saturday at the Emirates for Manchester United. Sorry, continue on my high horse.
No, I really hope so, because we've been in this position before and we've not managed to capitalise. I really hope, because we've got two massive, the game at Old Trafford, obviously against Aston Villa, and then away at the Etihad.
That'll be a wee derby for us.
those two games, not season defining, but certainly are going to be right up there. It will put us where we are kind of in this table. I'm going to come back to that in a little bit. Just very quickly from an Arsenal point of view, what was the feeling in the Arsenal camp then? Because I spoke to a couple of Arsenal fans, they were very honest with me and just said we were awful, and very kind of, how have we let United into this? Because I think when everyone's I think you can hear it actually on our Match Day vlog that went out Sunday. When the 7 minutes went up, everyone was, 7 minutes. Like, that was basically, a lot of United fans thought that was to give Arsenal the chance to go on and win the game. But obviously, United ended up nicking it. What was the feeling from the Arsenal camp?
Major disappointment. Majorly disappointed. Gutted. No, I believe it was a very quiet journey home. I know that my sister's partner, Katie McCabe, literally hasn't spoken since. So yeah, downbeat. They are all for the occasion of performing at the Emirates, and I think they're disappointed. They're gutted. Absolutely gutted. They're probably looking, going, damn it. What have we done to our league campaign here, where we're 15 games unbeaten? We should have got the better. We took the lead. How did we sleep? How did we drop off? And yeah, part of me, I mentioned this earlier on about injuries and stuff. Do you give them that injury grace? Also, Beth Mead, her knee, whatever happened to her knee, she looked in pain, she got upset. So yeah, I would be concerned for Arsenal now moving forward. I really would be, because you're without two of the best centre-halves in the world. You're without Kim Little, best midfielder, in my opinion, in the world. If we don't know what the latest is from Beth Mead, but she looked like she was sore. She looked like she was in a lot of pain. Defensively, they're not strong enough. Especially when you've got Alessia Russo, Ella Toon, Zellum putting in those balls. You're in trouble now. So yeah, I can't imagine the vibe is absolutely rocking at Arsenal today.
No, I wouldn't think so either, especially as you said, that long run that they were on before. And like I said, 40,000 at the Emirates. I was expecting us to... I would have been happy with a draw, put it that way. You mentioned Zellum, and I want to talk a little bit about the midfield before we get on to some other things as well. In recent games, particularly against the top three, our midfield has been particularly overrun. We've never, ever been able to control the midfield in these games against the top three. Conti Cup, maybe in last season aside, when we beat Arsenal 1-0. How did you feel that went, the lads and the Zellum kind of partnership in midfield? Because I think Zellum in particular gets a lot of stick, particularly off our own fans in these bigger games. You just mentioned it there. How do you think United did win the midfield battle, and that's what ultimately won us the game? Because it is something we seem to really struggle in these top three matches.
I think Katie Zellum was one of the best players for me. I don't know if it was her character as well that she showed, perhaps, the communication. Who's normally the United captain? Jog me of that. Is it always Zellum?
Yeah, it is Zellum, yeah.
She was a different level. I felt she was a different level on Saturday. I really enjoyed watching her, and then I watched the highlights on Sunday night. And again, that communication she had, even when they leveled out at 2-2. Again, it was that, like, come on, let's regroup, let's focus. Her communication was really clear. And I thought she was brilliant. I thought she was very, very good. Arsenal are a tough midfield, but I didn't think Leah Volti was her best for Arsenal. I thought Frida is a powerful, player. I think we're seeing the best version of her. These days, she's. I know it was a deflected goal, but it appears to be Frida's goal, and is that 5-5? For Frida Manum. So I just think United were better all round. I think a lot of it stemmed from Katie Zellum's communication. So yeah, I think United won it all. on Saturday at the Emirates in front of 40,000. They were dominant for sure.
No, I'd agree with that, especially about Katie's kind of leadership on the pitch, because that is something that goes unnoticed. And I think for a lot of people, maybe if you don't go to the grounds or don't see it kind of in person, I think it kind of goes a little bit unnoticed. There's actually a point after the Russo goal. Obviously, Russo runs the away and starts celebrating in front of everyone. Zellam's first thing when she gets there, obviously jumps on Russo, but then first thing is to get everyone back into a huddle and switch back on it and concentrate. And I think things like that you need in your team to be able to push on, because that would have been heart-wrenching if we'd have gone through all of that and
then dropped the point. Yeah, exactly. I mean, yeah, she was brilliant for me. And then when you watch the highlights through that little bit more, she was the key ingredient, I think, for Manchester United ticking and getting that win on Saturday night. So credit to Katie Zellam. I thought she was 10 out of 10 on Saturday.
Well, it'll be interesting when we do this will go out tomorrow. So our people would have already seen our match reaction, which is out tonight, Monday, the day of recording this. So people will have seen who our player of the match is then, but I'm pretty sure Zellam will be right up there on that one. Just sticking with you on it for a brief second. There's a lot of talk now, and they said it in the Chelsea game yesterday post-match, that United are now in this title race. A lot of United fans don't quite believe it. I'm still one of those. I don't think that we're quite there. I don't think we're on that level yet. But the points and where we are in the table, we've already played Arsenal and Chelsea. If we go into City and beat them, I don't see any reason why we can't be in that conversation. Do you see United in a title race, or do you still think we're just a little bit too far from Arsenal and Chelsea, and we should be just focusing on City in third?
Start of the season, I have been saying United will be your ones to watch. I think when May Letizia came in and had the instant impact in our first game as well, you're going, okay, they've got a lot going on just now. I also think they have that bit of depth, Manchester United. I think you can't rule them out. They're ahead on goal difference as well, aren't they? For me, they have to be considered, but I don't see how Chelsea slip here on it. You don't see what happens. That's the one thing for me. Arsenal, I think, have it in them now. I do think they have a slip up in them again because of the injuries. Unless everyone's back fighting fit in the next couple of weeks, which I don't think will happen. I think Arsenal have their work cut out for them. And I wanted it for Arsenal, because I'm there all the time. Part of me wants it for them so much this season. But Manchester United are stepping up a gear and they're strengthening in all the right areas. Mark Skinner's got them ticking nicely, and they've got so many key individuals who step up in the big moments. So yeah, I think you have to look and say, I don't know if they win the league, but they could be the Champions League for me. They can be Champions League. And Manchester City, I think, are still gelling. Okay, they've had 5 consecutive wins now, but there's still something for me. They're quietly going about their business, but Manchester United have been doing that this season. In all short Chelsea, that for me is that if they'd have taken a point for that, you would have been looking at the league very, very differently. You would have been considering them, I think. It's hard, but I think for me, they'll get Champions League this season and they deserve it.
No, I really hope so. Yeah, when you're looking at Arsenal, they've got obviously those 2 games against Juventus coming up as well in the Champions League, which obviously it doesn't affect the WSL, but if they get another injury now, they're tough matches on their own. So, I think they've got Everton and Villa, I think, sandwiched in between them, and I think they've got Lyon before the break as well, because I'm pretty sure they sandwich all the Champions League games and don't they before the break. So yeah, what can happen to Arsenal in the league? Hopefully, we can be the ones to capitalise on that one. But I do agree with your point. If United get a draw against Chelsea, again, looking at it maybe in a different light there.
Yeah, it's tough though. I mean, they're still growing. They're still, they're still look at Chelsea in terms of the experience. They've got. But that's the thing. I think Emma Hayes and Chelsea will be looking at United now moving forward, because they are to be considered now, and games like that at the Emirates on Saturday night put them in that position. They deserve that respect.
No, I agree, and I think I referenced it earlier on. If we the game of the Etihad now is even bigger, because if we go there and win, then I think people are looking at us in a completely different conversation to previously. That's the one, and that's our last game before the break as well. So that's last WSL game before the break. I'm pretty sure we got Sheffield or Everton after that. So in the Conti Cup. Speaking of Etihad, Emirates, and things like that, just a quick question on the kind of the bigger grounds. I'm going to tie in the away ends question as well. Where do you kind of stand on this? Because we saw quite a lot, obviously, in recent weeks at Villa Park, at Stamford Bridge. We've obviously seen the games at the Emirates, the one at the Etihad coming up, Old Trafford in 2 weeks. Do you think that there should be more of that this season, especially with the World Cup obviously being on now throughout? Obviously, it's a bit late now for teams to start announcing they're going to be playing at the bigger grounds. But do you think that's the window when there's these men's obviously international breaks and even if not for the women's team to start playing there? And also, where do you stand on this away ends? Because obviously after the game at the Emirates, especially United fans and even some Arsenal fans, to be fair, have been really pushing this. That has to be the norm now, that away ends are more common.
Yeah, I enjoyed at the Emirates on Saturday. The away end was the section was right down at me. Got some good footage of them, when Alessia Russo scored that third goal and she ran straight towards us and the fans were right down there. And it looked brilliant. I thought they got it right. I actually like seeing away ends. I think it's important. I think it's part of it. And the Arsenal fans all around them, each section were just like, shoulder slumped, and the away end went well. So I actually think if you dotted them all around Brits, it wouldn't have had the same impact. And the players responded well as well. So I do think that moving forward, yes, when they are playing in the main stadiums, make sure that the away ends are all together. I think that put all those fans together, I think it makes for a better atmosphere for everybody. And yeah, utilise the main stadiums as much as possible. There's, like Leicester are getting to play at the King Power a lot at the moment, but Leicester are a new WSL side growing their fan base. I think they've had some of their best turnouts, but they're not the same in terms of, even Aston Villa. Aston Villa, I thought, made a good move bringing in the likes of Rachel Daly. Not only is she an outstanding player who's changed the landscape of Aston Villa and the WSL, she's a Lioness. Hampton, who's also a Lioness. They're bringing in players who are getting bums on seats because they bring in a huge fan base. Alicia Lehmann, she's got to be one of the most famous footballers on the planet. She's not the best footballer on the planet, but she has a fan base on Instagram of like 9 million. So actually be business savvy. Bring those bums on seats, because these people are coming to see those players, and there's a very small chance that at the end of the game you might get a picture and an autograph or a selfie with these players as well. So I think it's clever. I think it's a good move from the women's teams, but only certain teams will get away with it. United 100% get away with it because they'll bring in a huge following because of Alessia Russo, Ella Toon, Mary Earps, Nikita Paris, and the likes, who are all representing at the Euros. They've brought in a new clientele for sure. So I think all teams that should capitalise on that. Chelsea, Arsenal for sure. Manchester United, yes. And Manchester City, yes. Aston Villa, I think, can do it now as well. But I mean, as many teams as possible should be doing that and looking to grow the game. Only thing I will say is that you don't want it to look half empty, and that's hard sometimes. That is hard because you're not going to fill it the way a men's game would fill it because they've brought that fan base. But, Liverpool at Anfield, when was that? A few weeks ago for the Merseyside derby. Must be a couple of months ago now, to be fair. God, I'm on the moon. But, that looked good. That looked good to me. And I think they are bringing in a new following now. So capitalise on it, move with it, make it a day out, make it an experience for all these fans coming along.
No, I agree. And it's funny because the two teams that are doing it regularly, Reading and Leicester, are the bottom two in the league right now. It doesn't help bring that following along if you are getting beat in the way that they're getting beat quite a lot down there at the moment. But yeah, I fully agree on Villa and the players that they brought in. Like you said, it's sometimes you need to think outside of just buying a player because they're a good player. Think about, like you said, the business side and what they can bring in as well. That leads me on nicely to the last question, and to kind of wrap this up. WSL as a whole, how have you viewed it? Who stood out to you? Who's the kind of? Oh, you mentioned Rachel Daly there. I'm pretty sure she's second top scorer now in the WSL, which is absolutely crazy. The impact that she's had. Who's stood out for you? Who's kind of the players to watch, and how can you see the next kind of few months going? Obviously, I know we've got the winter break coming up, but how do you see it all kind of panning out from here on in?
I've loved Arsenal because they've been brilliant so far. I think even their Champions League campaign has been excellent so far. They've really wowed. I think here there might be a little bit of a drop off, which is disappointing, for the players, for the squad, for everybody, for the fans. I've loved Bunny Shaw at Manchester City. You mentioned Rachel Daly in the goal scoring chart there. I think Bunny Shaw's now got 8. And she's just going about her business. She's really coming into herself. I think that's brilliant. Rachel Daly for me is the key signing of the WSL. You know, Aston Villa getting her, she's changed everything. But I think Aston Villa now, even bringing in the likes of Kenza Daly, Hansen, you know, they've made some good progress, and they're 5th on the table now. So, and again, my sister plays there, and we're hoping she's going to be back fit and trying to get a place in that squad as well. But you know, I think it's meant to be quite a good place to be at the minute as well. They're getting it right. Chelsea, can't ever fault them. To be fair, cannot ever fault them. Emma Hayes is back now, so God knows what they're capable of. To be fair, but Manchester United for me, I think that run that they've been on to be top of the table up until a couple of weeks ago against Chelsea, I think you just got to give them so much credit. They're a good team to watch, so many great players, and so many stars as well. So it's funny because from the Euros, I was like, which players can maintain? And Alessia Russo and Ella Toone have maintained, you know, as is Mary Earps as well and Nikita Paris. So that Manchester United squad have something really good in it. And they've been good to watch, you know, and on Saturday they were brilliant to watch, and they deserve the win. So I don't know what happens from here on in. I don't know. We will see.
Oh, that's very, very exciting that you can't call it, because I think if you were sat here going, yeah, this is going to happen, we'd be sat here going, well, that's a bit boring.
I can't call. But people are like, well, you can't. It's obviously Chelsea's all day, and I'm like, no. I mean, you never know. You know, you absolutely never know who could give them a wee stumbling block. They have a point. Manchester United, Arsenal. You know, everybody's still up there. It's very, very tight.
No, I agree. And like I said, the next couple of weeks, especially from a United point of view, are massive, but also for the rest of the WSL. Well, certainly for the top kind of 4, how that's going to pan out. And, you know, Villa, I don't think they're going to get there, but, you know, I wouldn't, with the way that Rachel Daly's scoring at the moment, I wouldn't be pushing past them. That game at Old Trafford's going to be really tough from a United point of view.
Okay.
So we look forward to that one as well. We'll wrap it up there. Shebahn, thanks for coming on.
Thank you, Connor.
Make sure you're subscribing to her YouTube channel as well if you haven't already. Make sure you're liking this video and subscribing. We might be, I think we're near 1,000 subscribers now, so make sure you are hitting that subscribe button if you are new around here. But for now, we shall see you in the next one.